Testing, 1, 2. Been writing to your inbox for some time. Now a new thread, a different paradigm. Swapping careful words for a spoken thought. Hope this little transition means a lot. It's just my voice now. Just my voice now.
Hello, workflow warriors, automation enthusiasts, spreadsheet survivors, and everyone who's ever stared at a workflow diagram and wondered who looked at this and said, "Yep, that's perfect." Welcome back to Behind the Workflow, the podcast where we pull back the curtain on business operations, laugh at the wonderfully weird things companies do, and remind ourselves that sometimes the biggest bottlenecks isn't the software, it's the process. I'm Melissa, business operations professional, workflow detective, and professional "why are we doing it this way" asker. And someone who's learned that just because a process has been around for 10 years doesn't mean it earned the right to stay. So grab yourself some snacks and a drink, silence that Teams notification, pretend you're deeply focused on your computer, and let's talk about one of my favorite topics: process improvement. But before we move any further, let's go to our corporate confession number 5. Raise your hand if you've ever looked at a workflow and thought, "this seems unnecessarily complicated." Then someone walks into the meeting, smiles confidently, and says, "Don't worry, we automated it." Everyone claps, leadership smiles, someone updates the project timeline on Monday.com. IT cautiously nods in approval. Meanwhile, the workflow itself is sitting quietly in the corner thinking, "I'm still terrible." It's like putting racing stripes on a shopping cart. Sure, it looks faster, but it's still headed toward the produce aisle. Previously on Behind the Workflow for episode number 1, we uncovered the hidden work that quietly keeps organizations running. For episode number 2, documentation, or as we learned, the thing nobody appreciates until Steve resigns. Episode number 3, the meetings, where calendars go to reproduce and agendas go missing. Episode number 4, file names, or corporate's longest running scavenger hunt. And today, we are going to dive into process improvement, or how businesses accidentally create problems, spend years living with them, then buy expensive software to avoid fixing them. And that brings us to the birth of every bad process. And it starts like this: someone creates a simple process, it works beautifully, everyone's happy. Then someone says, "Can we add one more approval?" Sure. The legal wants to review it, finance wants to review it, compliance wants to remove it, and there's somebody who retired 3 years ago who, for some reason, is still showing up on the approval list. Then someone says, "Can we add another spreadsheet to track this?" Absolutely. By year 5, ordering office supplies requires enough approvals to adopt a child. Automation is not magic, which is one of the biggest misconceptions I see. People think automation fixes broken workflows. It doesn't. Automation is basically caffeine for your process. Your process is healthy it gets more productive. If your process is a complete disaster, congrats. It's now a faster disaster. Imagine hiring the world's fastest pizza delivery driver to deliver pizzas to the wrong address. Sure, they're incredibly efficient. They're just incredibly wrong. The corporate domino effect. Bad workflows have a fascinating survival instinct. One unnecessary step becomes two, two become five, five becomes 17. Nobody questions it because everyone assumes there must be a reason. There usually was back in 2016 before 3 reorganizations, 4 software changes, and whatever happened during that merger nobody likes talking about. The reason disappeared years ago. The process stayed behind like an unwanted house guest. The Museum of Corporate History. Some workflows honestly deserve museum exhibits. Please print this online form, sign it, scan it, email it, upload the scanned copy, then file the paper original. Just in case. Just in case of what? A printer reunion? We've somehow taken a digital process, printed it, scanned it, and proudly called it innovation. But why? One of but why? One of my favorite techniques in ops is incredibly simple. Keep asking. Why? Why do we do this? Why does this approval exist? Why are we entering the same information three different times? Why are we emailing something that's already in the system? Usually around the fifth why, the room gets very quiet. Someone scratches their head. Someone else says, I've actually never thought about it. Exactly. In operations, one thing I've learned is this: the best process improvements rarely involve fancy software. I've seen teams save hours every single week simply by removing unnecessary approvals, combining duplicate tasks, creating better documentation, or putting information somewhere people could actually find it. No artificial intelligence. No $1 million implementation. No dramatic launch event. Just make work easier. Sometimes the most powerful workflow improvement is deleting step 7. Nobody misses step 7. Step 7 doesn't even miss step 7. So before you automate anything, ask yourself, does this process actually make sense? Are we solving the real problem? Can we remove the steps instead of speeding them up? Will this make someone's job easier? Or are we simply teaching a robot how to waste time more efficiently? Because trust me, robots are excellent at following instructions, and that includes the bad ones too. The invisible heroes. Here's the funny thing about process improvement. Nobody notices it when it works. Nobody throws confetti because approvals dropped from 8 to 3. Nobody wins Employee of the Month because They eliminated duplicate data entry. Nobody hosts a parade because someone cleaned up the workflow. But everyone notices when work suddenly becomes less frustrating. Projects move faster, questions disappear, meetings get shorter. People stop saying, I'm waiting on an approval. That's what great operations looks like. It's almost invisible until it's missing. My final thoughts for this today is technology is incredible. Automation is amazing. And AI is transforming the workplace. But none of those tools can rescue a workflow that never made sense to begin with. Good operations isn't about just adding more, it's about removing what no longer belongs. Sometimes the best automation isn't automation at all. It's deleting 3 unnecessary steps, simplifying the process, and letting people get back to doing meaningful work. Now that's process improvement. So before we wrap up today, I want to hear from you. What's the funniest or most unnecessary process you've ever encountered? Did you have to print an email just to scan it back into the same system? Did one approval somehow require 6 more approvals? Or have you witnessed the magical moment when someone proudly automated a workflow that nobody questioned in the first place? Share your stories because I know that they're out there. And honestly, they're probably funnier than anything I can make up. Thanks for listening for another episode of Behind the Workflow. If today's episode made you laugh or triggered memories you'd rather forget, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with that coworker who's convinced adding another approval is the key to streamlining. Until next time, remember, a faster bad process is still a bad process. And if you've successfully automated confusion, congrats. You've invented high speed chaos. Until next time.
Testing 1 2. Been writing to your inbox for some time. Now a new thread, a different paradigm. Swapping careful words for a spoken thought. Hope this little transition means a lot. It's just my voice now. Just